fun begins.
How's it going?
Hello.
Well,
Greetings, young Jedi.
hello there.
Hey everyone, Hybrid Toy Reviews here, and today I'm very excited to talk about this one. We're talking about the Star Wars The Black Series Captain Rex, as he appears in flashbacks in the Ahsoka series. This is basically just a fill-in for a Phase 1 Rex for the Clone Wars. It's going on my Clone Wars Clone Trooper shelf, and I'm really, really excited about it. If you see that sticker on the front, that means that I picked this up at Buy Sell Trade, Ashtabula, a store that I very much do love to shop at. I was able to get this figure with a slight markdown, actually, because of their rewards point system. They have punch cards, and you can get $10 off after you spend so many dollars in the store, and I had a punch card ready to roll, so I was actually able to get this guy under retail, which I'm super amped about. If you are anywhere near Northeast Ohio, if you are traveling through, if you don't know where you're going on vacation this summer and you want to pick somewhere that's nowhere near as cool as like a beach destination, I highly recommend picking somewhere in Northeast Ohio so you can check out Buy Sell Trade Ashtabula. Really fun store. So with that said, this is a figure I'm super excited for. Let's go ahead and get into the packaging and see what we're getting here. And here we have the packaging. This is your standard Black Series packaging, so you've probably seen everything going on here at least once before. This features a Black Series logo up above a big window showing Rex and his accessories off nicely. You have your Star Wars Ahsoka in blue there. Warning, 4+ Hasbro Clone Captain Rex. You have some art of Rex on the side of the box looking really cool. His name at the bottom. Around this side, you have your wraparound window, wraparound blue stripe, and your Black Series logo. Around back, you have the Black Series logo again. A zoom in of that side art. Bio of Rex. Pause and read whichever language best applies to you. He is number 16 in the Ahsoka line. Bunch of legal Disney Hasbro barcode, legal stuff, just all sorts of stuff you don't care about. And then a hanger tab up top. Very familiar action figure packaging. Let's go ahead and open Captain Rex up and see what you're getting here. So here we have Clone Captain Rex out of the packaging. Let's go ahead and start by taking a look at his accessories. He comes with his 2 blaster pistols, which we have seen many a time in the line before. Always love these. They are in a dark gray, almost black plastic color, which is very suiting for these, and they look very good. No paint. Don't really need any paint, is what it is. He features 2 working holsters, which we will talk about in a little bit, but the blasters do stow in them adequately. And they are nice and secure and safely held in there. And then it's put next to him in the box like it's an accessory, but it is his helmet, which is an essential piece to any Clone Trooper's gear. This is done very, very nicely in a nice white plastic. The J guys on the forehead are done very well, as well as the yellow tally marks. Pretty clean paint, although I do have a little bit of a scuff in the center of the forehead on the blue and on the front of the chin, which is unfortunate, but we'll just call that battle damage. Features a gray rangefinder with a black attachment on the top, and when you drop that down, it does go right in front of the eye, so you can pivot this to any position you would like, although of course there's only one that makes sense, and I do like that. He has the 6 marks on either side of the jaw, and then around back you have the blue going down the center of the helmet. Looks very, very good, and putting it on, it fits on him very well. I mean, that is one pretty good looking Captain Rex, I gotta say. Taking the helmet off, let's go ahead and take a look at the character, at the figure. So this is actually a pretty good likeness, not gonna lie, to Temuera Morrison. I'm not really getting, I've said it before on other Rexes, I've said it before anywhere, I don't really get this idea that Captain Rex has a blonde buzz cut. Like, there's no texture in his hair in the Clone Wars at all, whereas other clones have that. Like, Captain Rex just shaves his head. He's bald. And there's just a difference in skin tone because, like, I mean, you go shave your head. Like, the skin underneath your hair is going to be lighter than your face because it never sees sunlight. Like, bro's bald. You're telling me that, like, between, like, blasting clankers and stuff, he's just like, yo, make sure I get my salon appointment in so I can get my hair bleached and buzzed. Captain Rex isn't blonde. I don't understand this, but Hot Toys does it. Hasbro does it. I'm sure probably Funko does it at this point. It just is what it is. I don't understand it, but he's going to wear his helmet his whole life in my collection anyway, so who cares? But yeah, I've never understood it. Never understood it, but it is what it is. But it is a pretty good looking Temuera Morrison likeness, and just to bring in an alternate, here's 2017 Captain Rex. We'll take his helmet off. This is actually one of the first photoreal figures, and he looks pretty good too. Not gonna Not gonna lie, I do like the likeness on that. I think they're probably equals. Not gonna lie, I think that they probably look just as good as one another, which is good. Nothing to slouch about there. Sitting Rex back, let's go ahead and throw his helmet on there. I don't know what's going on with the focus here, but we're gonna run with it. So there's the helmet on Captain Rex. So looking at Captain Rex, he does feature a Clone Wars-like pauldron. And we'll bring in, real quick, the AliExpress Captain Rex, which is inspired by an old Sideshow figure from 2011. And back in the day, you kind of had to guess what an animated Origin Clone Trooper was going to look like, because you haven't seen a live-action version yet. And people were like, pauldron, it has to look like Revenge of the Sith. There's just many, many pauldrons out there, as it turns out. And in the Ahsoka series, you see Captain Rex in live action wearing this pauldron, which looks more like the Clone Wars pauldron, which means that there just is a version of this out there. It just is what it is. So this is like the old assumption, and this is just what he's rocking. So I like how it turned out. It very much reminds me of the animated model, and that's not a bad thing. It is in black plastic, and then it has dark gray on the panels in the front with light blue, or not light blue, but just same blue as all the other blue on the top of the shoulder there. Around back you have more gray, and it kind of just lays down on the back there. And yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Gotta give it credit, and I think that's a nice looking pauldron. And then going down the figure, Captain Rex has some nice blue stripes going down the outsides of his arm. They made sure to leave the buttons on his comlink white, but the comlink itself got to be blue. He has a stripe on the back of the hand, stripes on the shoulder or on the elbow pads. Shoulder pads are looking good. He's all white on the torso, all white on the abdomen. The comma is all rubber this time. Not gonna lie, I hate it. I hate it so much. I love a soft goods comma. This is trash. It only serves to hinder articulation. I hate rubber commas. And yeah, I'm not a fan of that. They did a thin blue line around the edge of the comma material, though, which is accurate. So something they did in the Ahsoka series is they gave him these really big holsters as opposed to these more standard holsters that just, aren't as big. They're just a totally different style. And that's an Ahsoka series choice. That's not a Hasbro choice, so that just is what it is. But when we started seeing factory leaks for these parts, they looked horrible. They looked ginormous. But actually seeing it in hand, in person, it definitely looks a lot better than I thought it did, which I'm happy to say. that's good. I do like how this looks in person, even if it is articulation hindering. It's just, all the fears that we had can be alleviated. That's what I'm trying to say ultimately here. So going down from there, he does have his blue stripes on the knee pads, and that's it for paint on the guy. It's just a clone trooper with some markings on it, and that's A-okay. So something they've done right here, and this might be a first. This might be the first Captain Rex ever, and I think I'm factoring in all the Clone Wars ones, like the 375s, that actually gave him 2 trigger fingers. Oh my gosh. They keep giving him pistols, and they keep giving him this closed grip left hand that you have to cut the index finger free so it can go in the trigger guard, and it has just been awful. This has been a problem since 2008. It's taken them 17 years at this point to finally give us a Rex with dual trigger fingers for those dual pistols, and that's just excellent. So great job, Hasbro. Finally got on the mark. Not sure why it took almost 20 years, but is what it is. So that said, generally really digging what's going on here. I think he just looks really, really good. So let's run through some articulation. This is your 2023 Clone Trooper body, so there's probably going to be a lot that you're familiar with here. It features the double ball neck, which allows him to look that far up, which is okay. You can get the helmet back on the chin. It's a little bit less. That's all right. You can go that far down, which is nice. You get side to side. A bunch of pivot in there. You can get some of that attitude. His arms come up to a T-pose, and there is a deep butterfly joint in there. Let's get some nice range, and then 360 degree bend at the shoulder, and the shoulder pad is on a ring around the peg going into the torso, which allows it to travel with. There's an upper bicep swivel with a single jointed elbow, which goes 290 degrees, maybe just a smidge more, and then it can turn at the elbow. It's kind of tight, and the bicep swivel is just looser, so probably just turn that. And then 360 at both wrists, with this right one hinging up and down, and the left one hinging in and out. Not super keen on that. I kind of wish he had dual verticals for, like pointing his pistols, but it just kind of is what it is. There's a mid-torso ball joint, which allows him to crunch that far forward, that far back. You get some pivot and twist in there. Very good stuff. His legs can go that far out. The comma, like I said, I hate a plastic comma, but it is a soft enough material. It can give him some pretty good spread action there. And then you can bring the leg that far forward, not back at all. There's an upper thigh swivel in there because it's an older mold, so it's got to be a good figure. And then there's a single jointed knee. They can go past 90 degrees and then swivel at the knee, which is nice to see. And then the knee pad is totally loose, so it just kind of goes where it needs to go while you're articulating it. And then the feet can point that far down, which is pretty good. Forward that far. And there's a forward-facing pin for rocker, allowing you some pretty decent stances with both feet flat on the ground. So let's sit them back here. Get them refocused. Let's do a little bit of a Captain Rex comparison. So here is the 2018 Captain Rex, which is, in my opinion, a garbage figure. Probably going to Topical Tuesday that. And then here is the AliExpress Phase 1 Rex, which got announced, it might have been back around Christmas of 24, so 4 or 5 months back now. And not going to lie, I think this new Ahsoka series Rex of the 3 is the best one. I do really like it. I'm not super keen on weathering on my clones, especially when all the other clones are already really clean. So this Captain Rex has always come across as too grimy to me. This Captain Rex was just the only option for a Phase 1. And I'm not really digging the Revenge of the Sith inspired pauldron and stuff. I definitely appreciate the Clone Wars brought to life aesthetic of this Captain Rex. So ultimately, I do believe that to be the better of what we're seeing here. Bringing the Captain Rexes out of the frame, let's do some comparisons. Here he is next to General Anakin Skywalker as he appears in the same wave. We'll scoot these back a little bit for the amount of figures I want to bring in here, because we've been building this up a little bit. So here he is next to the Phase 1, I think they called it a Lieutenant, but it's just a 501st clone, came in that 2-pack with a 332nd. Here he is next to ARC Trooper Echo and ARC Trooper 5s, really giving us some of these early seasons 501st representation. Really, really digging it, since it was always just unnamed grunts and Echo and 5s, and every now and then you'd get someone in a Phase 1 gear. But ultimately, I do really, really like how these guys all look together. They're going to be hanging out together on my shelf, and it's just a really cool set. Liking how they look. So at the end of the day, what do I think of the new Phase 1 Rex as he appears in Ahsoka? Not gonna lie, I really love this action figure. I think this is a great representation, A, of what we see in the Ahsoka series, which admittedly is just from behind, just for a second, but it's also just a great representation of what we know and love about the character as we know him from the Clone Wars, which is where he's just from. So this, to me, is a Clone Wars action figure just in an Ahsoka box. Ahsoka was the excuse to make a Phase 1 Rex. And whatever the excuse is, I am happy that they were able to take it. I'm really happy with this figure. The 2023 sculpt has really done Captain Rex some really good, work. He just looks great. And I'm just incredibly, incredibly, incredibly happy with how Captain Rex has turned out here. A stunning figure, a long missing addition to the collection, and a hole in the shelf finally filled. I'm incredibly happy that Hasbro's been able to knock it out of the park. I'm finally able to get rid of that old AliExpress Captain Rex, and just cannot stop glazing. I mean, this figure is just excellent. So that's what I got to say about it. Thank you very much for watching. It means a lot that you did. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that end of video stuff. As I mentioned, anywhere near Northeast Ohio, check out Buy Sell Trade Ashtabula. They are an excellent local retailer, and I like them very much. So always plug them when I can. I'm going to go work on something else now. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that end of video stuff. I'll see you next time. May the Force be with you, and goodbye.